Hi, folks, and welcome to another Saturday morning Samoflange. There we go. I'm Matt.
Good morning, I'm Benjamin.
That was on auto-tune.
That was auto-tune.
Hey!
Cardi B got nothing on us.
Ooh. Pet peeves in books, now pet peeves in movies.
Pet peeves. Just,
Had a hard time putting this one together.
Did you? This was
Yes,
one that
because
was
I think
easier
you're gonna come up with better ideas that I didn't think about.
Really?
But I just thought about what I don't like. So,
well, naturally. And we talked about pet peeves 3 or 4 years ago. The difference between a peeve and a pet peeve. A peeve is just something that you don't like, something that annoys you. A pet peeve is something that every time you see it, it's just like, oh, for crying out loud. Like you feed your pets. You know, you feed your dog every day, so you feed this peeve. Every time you see it, it just like makes you grind your teeth. Just like, oh, they did the thing again, Megan. Can you see this? Come in here and watch this. Like you rewatch it just to hate on it. And that's a pet peeve.
That is a pet peeve. So I'm going to double down.
Ooh.
Because you're going to go 0 again, and I'm going to go 1.
Ooh, see,
you want to switch it?
Well, I'm just saying, for last week, I thought for sure it'd be 0 because books
are
so different.
Then
one I would
I'll do 0. You can have the 1. I think there's so many things.
Interesting.
So I'll go 0, you go 1. How's that?
That works for me. 1,
you could be right. I'll go
3,
first
4,
too.
5. Okay, sweet.
What I want to talk about is I just coined the phrase for it right now.
Oh.
Called the quiet copycat.
The quiet copycat.
You know, it rips off
here first today on Saturday morning Samoflange.
The quiet copycat. Like for instance, First Impact came out right before Armageddon. It was a copycat of Armageddon. They were just trying to get to the punch first.
Yeah, the movie,
the meteor strike.
Movie, yeah.
I mean, so beat for beat, story wise are the same.
Yeah.
The quiet copycat takes an exact formula from another movie and puts it into their movie. It's different, but it's the same. For instance, I hear a billion people around me saying they love the horror movie Smile.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. No.
Okay.
I know that. I've seen the preview.
I saw it years ago. It was called It Follows. Beat for beat.
Beat for beat.
I mean, I thought, is this movie going to offer me anything I have not seen? And I bet there's tons of other movies that follow the same formula.
Sure.
But It Follows was the first one and the best one I've ever seen. Do it.
The best copycat, silence copycat.
But it's a quiet copycat because, of course, the situation is
because
different.
Because it can't be a clown. It can't be this. It can't be whatever.
It's got to be something different, but it's similar as story beats go.
Sure.
In Smile, people are smiling, and it's kind of creepy, right? Because it's a regular thing people do. Smile.
Right.
So, of course, there's a demon, and you're running, and you can't get away with it.
Naturally.
In The Grudge, once you watch the video, I'm sorry, The Ring. Once you watch the videotape, the girl is coming after you, and no matter what you do, once they get the claws into you,
it's over.
It Follows was once you do something starts coming after you, and you can't get away from it.
We've seen that.
And then, of course, there's all these. We go through the innocent thing, then something happens, then something weird happens, then something serious happens. Then we have to investigate the history of whatever this curse, hex, ring, whatever it is, videotape is.
Before.
We see the origins. And then what we try to do is put that thing to rest by achieving some goal that the star has to do, which does not work because in the end, the big, and I put huge quotation marks on this, twist is they still get them in the end.
They still get killed, no matter, even though they buried the locket in under the
full moon. But It Follows did something a little bit different, which is a little bit better. But the thing is, though, over and over and over again, we see this. I am tired of it. I love the Grudge movies, and you could say the Grudge goes in that too, Matt. Yeah, but I'm just saying some of the first ones I saw, It Follows did something different too. I don't want to spoil the movie, which I'm not going into details. But everyone said, "Oh, Smile was so good," and I was like, "No, I saw it. It's called It Follows. It was a much better movie."
Well, maybe people like it. Just they don't.
There's not a single thing about that movie that surprised me, entertained me, or anything.
Not because of the story. People like the jump scares, maybe, or they like the acting. I can't believe that's true, but I'm just grasping at straws. But,
same old formula.
It's a tired.
Not an obvious ripoff, but they're using the exact same formula.
So the quiet copycat.
The quiet copycat.
I like it.
All right, number 5.
Number 5 for me, it was a struggle to make this one. So my number 5 was badly mixed audio, which is something that is so prevalent now, and I think part of the reason why is I read a statistic fairly recently that said that 70 to 80% of all video consumed today is with subtitles enabled. And YouTube, if you create a brand new account on YouTube, subtitles are enabled by default, I believe. And most people consume media, TV shows and whatever, watching on the subway, commuting, out in the world, at dinner, whatever, and they watch it with subtitles. So let me ask you, do you watch any of your media with subtitles?
No.
See, I hate having to watch subtitles.
I hate it too, yes.
And why?
I don't want to sit there and read.
Exactly.
I want to watch the movie.
I want to watch the movie. Tell me, I'm watching a visual storytelling medium.
Yeah.
Like,
but I'm having to read it.
Yeah, don't make me read it.
Yeah. Takes you out of the takes you away from the action, takes you away from what's going on.
And I think I touched on this a few weeks ago, perhaps, with a Star Trek show. Yes, Brave New World or Strange New Worlds. I was talking about the new Star Trek and how much I loved it. And the audio is mixed so badly to not be able to understand half of what they're saying. The sound is back and forth all over the place, and it varies between streaming service. It varies between what it is you're watching. Like, even from Paramount to Netflix is a massive difference. But like, if you try to keep the same volume, if you pop in a Blu-ray player, or if you try to, stream something from your phone or whatever, like, the volume is all over the spectrum.
Agreed.
I'm watching I just finished up the TV series Ted Lasso. Have you ever watched that on Apple Plus?
No, but I've heard good
Jason
things.
Sudeikis. Mm-hmm. Terrific show, and you definitely need to watch it. It's so good. But man, I have to crank my home stereo receiver up to 60. Like, and then I go and I try to watch Star Trek Lower Decks or something like that on Paramount. Blows me away. Then I try to play a video game, and I'm like, oh God, and I played Bad Dudes, like the 1980s Bad Dudes, where you have to rescue Ronald Reagan from ninjas.
Wow.
You know this movie, game? And then I accidentally had left the volume on from where I was watching Ted Lasso, and it's just, oh God, what's going on? So many ninjas.
That's funny.
So it seems odd, because I was just talking to a filmmaker about this a couple weeks ago, because I was in a short film which actually won the Las Vegas Short Film Festival, and we were talking about the short film medium and how he makes his movies and everything else, and so I was very excited, and so we sat and talked about movies, and we got onto the topic of sound, because the movie that I was in was very, very low key. It was very kind of thriller vibe to it. So the sound was a character, is what we were talking about. The sound was something that then the music as well had to be a part of the mood. So if you turned on subtitles, or if you couldn't hear the music, if you were watching it silently, you missed so much of the story. Because also it's a short film, and it's only, I think, 7 minutes long, 7 or 8 minutes long, and that's it. And so when you've got only that small amount of time, everything matters to the telling the story, and the music and the sound and the way it's shot and the way it's edited with the sound tells another story, and you miss that entirely, because it's a thriller whodunit, like what happened, what's going on with this mystery story that's going on. So it feels like how did they do it in the late 90s, early 2000s, when you had movies like Jurassic Park and Independence Day and Titanic? I just looked up the top 3 movies of the 90s, and those were like in the top 10, right? And you had these great movies that they did it perfectly. You had huge T-Rex sound effects and Titanic breaking apart, but
more care was taken.
You still heard everything that Jack and Rose said. And then that Titanic had sweet moments in it, but it also had a lot of action in it. And Jurassic Park is a prime example. You know every word of Jurassic Park. I've seen Jurassic Park 50,000 times. I could say it by heart, and there's no line of dialogue that gets lost. But also, huge John Williams score, like dinosaurs screaming all over the place. How did they master it then? And then ever since like the mid-O's, it's just all over the freaking map.
Yeah.
And it
must
be when Netflix came out and started to get popular.
Faster, speed out, get it done. We need to turn it,
cutting it out,
turn it.
Not paying your sound engineers,
not paying low level people to do halfway decent job, because there's so much content out there. There couldn't be enough to there's bigger need in the market than the good people,
or something like that.
Because there's much more. There wasn't as many streaming series, and there's more content coming out than ever before.
That's true. And so with shows like Ted Lasso, I have to turn on the subtitles every so often because it's set in England, and so there's a lot of dialogue and jargon that I'm like, what did they say?
What did they say?
And that's fine. That's a different language, basically.
I get it.
But things like Star Trek, there's no reason why I should. And that show, cinematically, oh my word, beautiful cinematography.
Okay.
Like they do such a good job mixing the CG with the practical effects, and it's beautiful. Subtitles are on, you miss it, or it takes you completely away from it. So that's a long-winded number 5.
All right.
Badly mixed audio is definitely a pet peeve.
Okay. My number 4 is very similar to the first one, but it's a predictable twist that you see coming. I have no pity.
Predictable twists.
Yeah, I have no pity for the writer's strike. Those guys will pick up their game because, I mean, how many movies have we gone? I know exactly what's going to happen in this movie. The only time I've been wrong recently was a great movie called Barbarian, which you think from watching, you go, I know where this is going. Right. Okay, they switched it on me. Okay, now I know where it's going. Did not know that.
Got me again.
And then another one was The Flash, which I did not think I was going to like this. I watched it solely to do the review on it on Prince of the Universe. Thought I was going to hate it. I mean, even said, I bet the best part is Michael Keaton as Batman and everything else is crap. But this movie, it really shocked me because everything that I told my wife, I said, I know, you want me to tell the story? Yeah. I haven't read anything, but I can tell you, I promise you this is what's going to happen. I got everything wrong. I love that. With predictable ending, predictable plots, boy, writing has become super lazy in Hollywood because it's just, you're like, I know it's going to happen. Yeah. Everyone, because we're saying it midway through the movie or 1/3 of the movie, and so that person, they're going to come back and they're going to shoot. They just told the story about they shot a kid by accident. He's pointing a toy gun. How was I supposed to know? Right. Well, don't worry, Bruce Willis. I'll save you at the end of the movie and Die Hard. Yeah, I mean, those are tropes that we've seen before, and they were done well. Not that you can't do it today, but you better be, because your audience is smart. Yeah. Your movie watching audience is smart, and if they can guess the story, then you're doing a crap job.
What was that movie you told me about where a dude went to prison and he had to keep doing worse and worse crimes?
Brawl and Cell Block 99. Did you watch that?
Vaughn or whatever?
It's excellent.
Yeah.
It's not a comedy.
That was one that surprised you, right?
It surprised me. I was like, wow. Because I was like,
because it's so brutal.
It's so well. It starts off as it's just sad, straight drama. Then I'm not spoiling anything here. He breaks someone's bone. Yeah. You're like, I didn't see that fight go solid.
Right.
Well, then the next fight is a little bit bloodier. You're like, that's kind of violent. Oof. And then my wife goes, this is kind of a violent movie all of a sudden. I went, yeah. But it's thematically, it wasn't just there for the grotesque stuff. Because
the story.
He has to be bad so he can get in the worst prison, to the worst wing, to the worst hole. So he's got to keep
achieve the objective.
And the only time to do that is he beats someone up, but he doesn't beat him up badly.
Yeah.
Well, now I've got to be bad.
Better than that, or worse.
So it's got to be bigger, and to where when he finally gets to Cell Block 99 or wherever this final destination is, the fights are so brutal. Yeah. I laughed, but at the same time, it was horrifying. One of the things he does.
One of the movies that you felt like, okay, well, I know where this is going, but then it surprised you. Or
it just surprised me. I was like, whoa, I didn't know you could do it. Because when you see violence, you're thinking, I've seen it all, and they come up with a new way to be violent. Right. But they showed Vince Vaughn's they showed Vince Vaughn's height.
Oh yeah,
he's a tall dude.
He's as tall as me. Yeah.
And they cast him with regular 5-foot actors, but this time he didn't have to.
He came out swinging.
They didn't have to stand on steps talking to him, or they didn't have to do that distance thing or whatnot. Right. Trick angles. No, they just showed how towering he is, and it's like I don't know. I really liked it. Anyway, that's cool. We'll talk about what the things I like about the movie later on. But number 4 for you.
Number 4 is when everyone's way too pretty. I call it CW casting. Because
this is a good one. I don't have this one.
Every show on the CW is just full of freaking supermodels and just perpetuates the stereotype of beautiful is better than being a good actor. Like it just
and that's happened more recently than even in the 2000s. It's ramped up 10 years from now.
Oh yeah.
For example,
it's It's abundance. Yes.
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. his Aunt May, no thank you.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield, Sally Fields. What a pretty old woman.
Yeah.
What a pretty old woman. Yeah. And then the new one, Marissa Tomei. Why am I having thoughts about Aunt May? I shouldn't be having thoughts about it.
Having these thoughts about
Aunt May. But if they reboot it again, Aunt May's going to be like his sister or something. I mean, yeah, it's going to be even younger. Aunt May gets younger and she gets sexier.
Yeah.
And that's a great one.
Yeah, I can't stand it when everybody's so pretty and then CW. It is what it is, and they know who they are, and that's fine. Like everything is.
Everyone has to be a model.
They turn up the color tone, like they oversaturate everything on CW, and they know everything's bright and poppy and bubbly and whatever, and it's soap opera casting, and that's fine. You know who your audience is. The thing that disappoints me is that CW has a lot of things like Smallville and The Flash, or superhero stuff that I want to see. But I don't want to see it done with pretty high school people all the time. Like, why does it have to be every time? Why can't it be
every time?
Give me something else, please. I'm just so tired of it. So I thought about it, and, like, Kelsey Grammer is not a historically handsome, good-looking dude. He's bald. He's got a square jaw and everything else. But Frasier was, like, one of the top 5 shows of the 90s, right? And they're actually rebooting it, and it's coming back. Did you know about this? The Frasier reboot? Kelsey Grammer
I remember something about it.
Because very recently, I think it's on Paramount, because they had to shift it from NBC or whoever.
Yeah. I do remember that.
And the reason being that it suddenly moved is because they needed to reacquire the rights because they were rebooting the show. So now Frasier's coming out, and he's redoing it, and he's apparently moved to Chicago, I think, now. And so he's not in Seattle, and he's not in Boston, and I think he's right in the middle in Chicago. So, But anyway, I hope that the show can succeed, because now your protagonist is an old, not typically handsome man. Now, he's a dude, he's a pretty big, confident guy, he's got a sex appeal to him or whatever, but I can't ever see him being cast today in a show.
Right.
Like, freaking Columbo, for crying out loud. Whatever his name is. I can never remember.
I can't remember his name either, but yeah, I know the actor.
Weird looking dude, Yeah. And there is a something
more realistic.
Yes, more realistic is what I should say.
He's the guy that you've heard of or know of.
Exactly. And there's a bunch in Hollywood, and the names change over time, but there is an idea that somebody who is so odd looking that they get cast, but like Steve Buscemi, for instance. He's just a weird, wiry looking dude. And he's a terrific actor, but he would never be normally cast as a leading man in this against this leading woman. And,
right.
He's not a Brad Pitt, stereotypically Hollywood.
But everyone in the town is good looking. Like everyone could be a model shoot. Is what you're talking about.
Every
single person.
Man is the prettiest man you've ever seen in
Everyone's
your life.
Hollywoodized.
Yeah, and they're all beautiful. And it just makes me feel like that all these kids who are the most popular kid in their, like in real life, they grew up the most beautiful person in their high school, and they're convinced by all the people around them, like, oh my God, you need to move to Hollywood. You're so pretty, you're so talented, and all this. And they all go to Hollywood, and they don't make it, and they get their dreams crushed, and so they go over to the CW, and they say, hey, I heard you hire pretty people, and then they put them on the show, and it's just, it's like, I get it. Like, you guys are good looking, but dang, come on. And usually the acting suffers, bro.
Now you don't get the best people, You get the prettiest faces, though. Exactly. That's a good one. I'm going to go with 3.
Here it comes.
I'm going to get hate on this, so I need to rectify it. The strong female.
The strong female.
Twice we've rebooted Evil Dead. We rebooted it with a strong female the first time. Okay, I get it. We're doing something different. Then they rebooted it again with another strong female.
Yeah.
Oh, you already did that. Let's go back to the male now. No, because everyone must have, in a horror movie, it must be the female that is strong, the survivor that stands up. We have seen this so many
we saw it
times.
In 1977.
It was great.
Ripley.
Yeah, we love Ripley and
for a man.
Sarah Connor and there were some good ones.
Terminator 2.
There were some good ones, and now it's every if it's going to be if it horror, it's got to be a woman. Has to be the survivor. Has to be the now. Jamie Curtis was the original Halloween lady, so I get it. But the thing is, though, how about the male as the survivor? How about the male as the hero?
Yeah.
And people can name off random ones, I guess, where a male survives or anything, but it seems like there's just more of that. I'm not against strong women, but we're talking about tropes here.
Tropes.
And everyone is strong.
Like you're not being, and they do it as if they're being unique.
How about Scream doesn't focus on the surviving girl? How about it's the surviving guy this time? Yeah. You know, or maybe, I mean, if you really want to flip the switch, but they got to keep the original formula. I mean, and when they did Evil Dead with a girl, the first reboot, I was like, okay, I get it. And then they did it again with another reboot. I was like, is it just always going to be a girl now? I mean, are we just done doing the guy thing because we did it once?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. But it just, you know, I'm going to get off it because people are going to complain. But the thing is, there's good, strong women in shows today that I think are great. Sure. But at the same time, it's like, okay. She's scared, but then she gets there. You know, the Ripley effect.
Yeah.
The Ripley effect happens to everyone now.
Yeah. And when was Alien?
Sometimes we even skip the weeks part. We just say they're already awesome at everything.
Like it was.
Oh, yeah. It was, well, I think it came after Star Wars, so 78, 79, let's say. But still, the Ripley effect is everywhere.
Yeah. And it's not like they're doing something new or anything like that.
You've retreaded so many times.
Linda Hamilton, like in Terminator, you're right. Best example of a powerful.
Do you know why the first Evil Dead was so unique? Everyone thought it was going to be the blonde guy who was so confident, not Ash, the kind of weak guy. And yet he came out on top. If you watch the first Evil Dead again, it's a classic 80s horror.
I love Evil Dead, yeah.
But the guy who looks like Fred from the Scooby-Doo gang and should be the leader dies midway through it, and you find out that it's his friend is the one who's going to be the hero.
He's gonna be the one cutting
and it was such a big twist.
It was
groovy.
Okay.
All right, what's number 3 for you?
Number 3 for me is verbalizing everything for the audiences who are on their phones. And
oh wow,
in the age of storytelling, without dialogue, seems to be dying a slow, painful death. Because you know that's one of my most favorite things is telling a good scene.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a scene that the camera doesn't cut away, and you just have one long take, it's called a oneer, or whatever. If you've got a oneer combined with no dialogue, and you still tell such a good scene in the movie, and you relate the story, what's the matter?
No, keep going. You gave me an idea.
Oh, so the trope, the pet peeve I have, and it's very evident in the newer Star Wars movies. Mm-hmm. It's very evident in a lot of new big Disney stuff, is that there's something clearly about to happen on the screen. Like everything, the music is building up to it, the scene is building up to it. They've hinted at it, they're telling you about it, and then some MFer has to turn to the camera and say, she's going to ram the ship into the other ship, or so, just like, we know.
It's spoon feeding the audience.
Spoon feeding me what's happening.
To let them know what's going on.
What's happening, exactly. And the pandering. Like Picard season 1 and season 2 were probably the worst. Just, oh my God, everything. They'd be typing away on the computer, never touching the space bar, whatever. And then they're articulating everything they're saying. It's like, we know why you broke into this computer in the first place. Like, why else would you be in this room?
But we need to have some deposition to explain to the audience what's going on, just in case they're not watching.
When you have a character drinking their coffee or whatever, and then they're clearly having a traumatic flashback of some kind, and then the scene cuts to a different moment.
Yeah.
They're in different clothes. There's a different tint on the screen. The film is in a slower speed. Like they changed the frame rate, everything, and yet, I mean, you're clearly somewhere else, and yet the damn words pop up on the screen and says 1976 or, the day before.
Gives you the day before or whatever, yeah.
And then when they cut back to you and it pops back up again, present day. It's like, we freaking get it! You don't have to put present day.
Yeah.
Like, everything, like the light changed, the speed changed, the music changed, I get it. It's present day. You do not have to tell me present day. I think that's officially my number 3, present day.
Present day. Like, there you go. That's a good way to say it.
Oh, it just makes me insane when they oversay everything for the sake of saying it. Oh, I hate it so much. That might be my number one. I hate that so many. I peeked the mic so many times during that rant.
Keep it at number 3 because my number 2 almost ties into this.
Come on.
Speaking of cell phones,
yes,
not the viewer being on its cell phone, but the person in the movie not using it.
Using a cell phone in the horror.
How many times is there's no signal. Oh, my battery died.
No signal.
Oh, it dropped in the water or it broke.
Right.
I dropped on the ground, broke. Because a writer is again. Let them starve.
Let them starve.
Let them starve. Let the striker starve because you need to do better. Because you know your story's crap. Dude. Because it could be easily. It's hard to make a horror movie now because no one believes me. Yeah, no one believes me because you didn't whip out your phone and record what was going on, what you were watching. If it's happened to you more than once, that's what you should be doing. You can prove everything now. But the thing is, though, they can't explain the cell phone. So they have to do the classic tropes. It's lost. It's broken. Right. The battery's dead. Or we're in an area. In 2023, we're in an area that there are areas, definitely.
There are.
Most of them are here in Louisiana.
My parents' house.
But yeah, that don't have internet. But the thing is, though, wow, that's how you write yourself out of that because you're thinking, oh gosh, if they had a cell phone though, they could easily call for help.
I might be a little bit more forgiving because I have a drinking game with Star Trek that anytime they say the word interference, like you have to take a shot.
Oh wow,
you can get so hammered.
On some of those episodes, I'm telling you what,
Captain, interference from the planet. It's like, oh my god, the interference! It's like every time you hear interference, you have to raise
take
it
a
up.
shot.
Yeah, and so I get it. Like there's so many times when the transporters are out or the comms are out or whatever.
Well, they have to do it to make their story work.
Right.
And the thing is, though, but for cell phones, it's always the same. You know it's going to be one of these. They can't come up with anything.
That's true.
Unique with that.
I mean, it's difficult to write because...
It's difficult to write now, yeah.
Who would have ever expected that cell phones would be as common as, like, more common than a driver's license? Like, more people have their cell phone than they have their ID.
Yes, that's true.
And that's why it's so smart to make IDs officially on phones, because everybody's got the dang phone. But you're right. So you just want to see a better way of...
Well, I mean, either you just accept it, move. Honestly, if they say, look, here's the video of the ghosts I keep seeing, and he goes, here you go, dude. Here, I made a video on my app that shows a ghost in the background too. So what? You just got a better, and just kind of throw off as you're faking it.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
There you go. That's something different. I could come up with more, but you know what? I'm not on strike. Hollywood, hire me. I'll write better than those bozos. All right, go ahead. What's number 2?
Overused CG.
Dog, that should have made mine.
CGI.
Dang it.
Friends. Yeah. I think we've gotten so...
Dang it, that should have been on mine. That should have been on mine. That should have been on mine.
Doctor Strange and the whatever hell of madness that was, and the 9th circle of hell is what it felt like when I was watching it, because it was just a giant cartoon. Like, poor Benedict Cumberbatch must have been in front of a green or blue screen for a year.
Black Panther doesn't even hide it.
Oh,
it's all blue screen. You can see it.
So bad.
And even the first one, when he's fighting Killmonger,
it
looks like a video game.
Oh, so bad.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. When he's the flashback scene,
wretched.
It really looks like you're controlling a video game.
Correct. Yes.
It's so She-Hulk.
I don't even mind bad CG as much as I do too much of it. I don't want to watch cartoons on the movie screen. I want to watch actors act with other, like, props, sets, something. Every movie has CG. I'm not saying you can't use it. That's not at all what I'm saying.
But when CGI from 30 years ago looks still like real dinosaurs,
something was doing. They were doing it right.
We have digressed.
Yeah, Jurassic Park is the epitome of that, because you had the Stan Winston school of character arts.
It is aged well.
Look, let me tell you, that's one of the reasons that pans into exactly what I was saying about Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, is because did I tell you that same creative team, like a lot of those guys who make the special effects for that show, like worked with Stan Winston, and he's the guy who did Aliens and Terminator and the Jurassic Park and all the great creatures and things that you know of from the 80s and 90s and stuff. That's the crew. Those are the guys that are working with that's the same vibe of people. that are doing it now. So there is a way. There is a way to blend it, you know. And I think Star Trek: Strange New Worlds does a great job of blending CG, because that's clearly a sci-fi fantasy show. So you've got to have a lot of CG in it. But they do a wonderful job blending the two together. Doctor Strange and the whatever hell of madness it was, then that's the other end of the spectrum. It was just one nightmare after another. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Just horrible. The first 5 minutes, you were just like, "What is going on?"
It's so bad.
And it just sets you up. So like,
and then you hear they paid hundreds of millions of dollars. It wasn't on the CGI.
Dude, I don't know what happened.
I don't know what you're serving at the buffet table, but maybe unlimited lobster crab or something.
Honestly, though, like bad CG is not what's on my list. It's too much.
That's good. No, I totally
lazy.
You rely on CGI to bring people in your
story.
Yeah, Transformers. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like they could have made anything that could be practical. I want to see practically done.
Yeah.
Or find me a creative way to show me something, because it matters. Audiences they maybe can't articulate why they don't like it. But a movie that's just pumped full of CG, they're not going to like it, but they won't be able to tell you why. I'm telling you now, producers and everybody in Hollywood and powerful positions listening to this podcast, happy Saturday morning to you. But also, that's the reason they don't like it. It's because it's just uncanny valley still. It's not real. It takes you out of it. You don't care.
It's great.
There's a reason that people like Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible movies and stunts and stuff like that. It's
real.
Because he does them.
And you can see they're real.
Can.
And they're exciting. Yeah, exciting to watch.
Very, very exciting to watch.
And
Jason Statham, Jackie Chan, those guys. Oh my God, I left out a pet peeve, and this is what I was talking about, because one of the very first things that came to my mind was Jason Statham in The Transporter Part 2, because he is such a talented martial artist, right?
Yeah.
He can do all the jumps and flips and kicks and everything else.
Yeah.
Even The Transporter Part 1, to be honest, is so quickly cut. Like the cut.
Yeah.
You can make me look like I'm Jason Statham if you cut that fast.
Yeah.
And so, like, why did you cut his performance like that?
When you know he can do it.
When he can do it. And there are like 2 or 3 scenes in The Transporter, the very first one, where they leave it on him for a minute, and you're like, dang, this son can do this thing. And it's amazing. Like, but why the tight, close, quick cuts? Like, were the other stuntmen or whatever just that bad? It's unreal. I hate that so much. And that falls into the same vein of CG. Like, why CG that when you could have just done this way? And if it's about the same cost, I'm fine. I get it. Cost cutting, it can be easier, but that's definitely my number 2.
Okay, there you go. My number 1. CGI is a great one. I should have picked that one. But mine was the story just not making sense. Again, writers, stay on strike. Do your job.
These are having a theme, aren't they?
Meg 2. We watched Meg 1. It was fun.
You watched the Meg 2?
It makes no sense. The whole time Megan's going, what's going on? I said, I don't know. Why are they doing this? I don't know.
That's too bad.
And I've been watching it.
And
she's been up and back from her phone. But the thing is, though, once you go for your phone, that means your movie is not good. Yeah. If I go for my phone, your movie's not good. And I just started working on whatever I was on my computer and letting the movie play. But the thing was, the story just jumped from here to there, and you're like, why are they doing this now? Well, why didn't they just go back there? And nothing's ever explained because they don't care. Because look, big giant sharks.
Exactly. That movie was about, look, big giant shark.
And the first one was too, but at least it has a coherent story.
Yeah.
Where this one wanted to be Jurassic World.
Oh.
You could tell Jurassic World, not Park.
What a bad
but world.
Mimic.
It's really
like if you're gonna copy somebody.
But it doesn't make sense.
We have the best, not the worst.
We have the person trying to train the megalodon. Can he be trained? We have the evil corporation trying to get mining something for money. We have the tropes. This is all tropes. We break through it's called the trench. We break through the trench. I don't think this is spoilers, but it's more than just. Of course, they're gonna have more than one megalodon.
Of course.
But they're gonna have a giant squid, and they're gonna have these swimming, like dinosaur fish, a fish and a raptor combined, raptor fish or whatever. That's your Jurassic World stuff. And so the thing is, though, it just jumps, and you're like, I don't know what's going on. Then you stop caring. It's like Black Widow. My wife goes, I don't understand what's going on. I said, I don't understand why this is happening.
Look, we've talked about this. There's so few movies that I've walked out of. Black Widow is one of them. Halfway through it, I just turned to my date and I said, do you want to leave? And she said, oh my God, yes.
Yes, it's so garbage. It's so garbage. And I say that more times than not with the reason there's no superhero fatigue. It's you put crap on the screen now, and no one wants to watch it. No. Yeah, not super. I gladly enjoy a superhero movie, but no, your story sucks. So get better. What is number one? I won this time with a 0. I'm kind of shocked.
You did, because I'm positive that your number one is not mine.
What is yours? I may have forgotten this one. Go.
It goes back to the Star Trek theme again. It's religious zealot plot lines.
Oh no! That's another great one. That would make mine too.
That makes me insane when I hear, well,
the preacher is the villain. That's not a twist. It's been around for 30 years.
No, anytime they go to Star Trek discovers a new planet and they're on this new world, and then they want to eat the crew because it's their religion or something like that.
If the religious nut doesn't want to kill people or doesn't want to take off, that's a good twist.
That's a good twist. Right, and so like, anytime you're in a horror movie and you got a hillbilly who's like needing to sacrifice this virgin for the whatevers and the demons and stuff, why does it have to be about a religious cult or something like Hillbilly Arkansas or anything like that? Anything related to church?
Why won't they let anyone in the town dance?
This mind-bending,
Those were the good old days.
Religious zealots and Footloose are never going to let us.
But that's the thing. You're right, because the pastor's always the bad guy. He's always the bad guy. And it's always the leader of the cult. He turns into they're really a cult. It's not a twist anymore, folks.
And here, it's a two-part pet peeve in a way, because the other end of that spectrum is the Left Behind series, or the ultra Bible thumper, like Jesus is Lord, everything is great, and hallelujahs, whatever.
Right.
And then the story suffers again, but on the opposite side of the spectrum, because you have you're trying to quote unquote preach the gospel at that point. You're trying to do good for Jesus or build people into the church, and it's too far. It's too much. It's like everything has to be holier than and suitable for church, or it has to be cults, Satanists or something like that, or they secretly worship the devil under the White House kind of thing. And it's just like, why can't there, because there is a happy medium. You can have religion and a character and a person that doesn't have to be perfect, and they don't have to be a cultist. Like, why can't I just see a religious person in a show that isn't a trope? Like, that's what drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like, religion is just used
I agree.
only in extremes. And that's not the way it is. And I'm still waiting on a show that makes me care one way or the other. And I don't mind, like, stuff like... I don't mind it if a character has lost their faith in something. Like Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly, right? So that's fine. That's fine. And he's hardened against, Shepherd Book because he's been through the war and has had bad things happen, and so he doesn't believe in a God exists and all those other things like that.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not tired. It's just the... You know what I'm saying?
But that's such a great pick. That would have made mine.
Though, is the over the top religious sacrificial cult people that just this is what we believe, and that is completely 100% inexcusable in my book. And
you're right.
In books, movies, TV shows, anything, like, forget it.
That's a good one.
It's just unacceptable.
Good one. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I feel like
folks,
I see that every single Saturday
morning.
Samoflange.